Sorry, Fnatic going for the Kennen ban here, which was again part of EG's lineup in both of their wins yesterday. Played with obviously Wickd up in that top lane. Did phenomenally well with that. That won't be in for this one. And the final ban will be that Shen. So Fnatic not going to be able to get their hands on that one. And it looks like Aatrox is going to be the big contestant point in this one.
Yeah, so Aatrox is kind of coming into his own lately. We always saw, we saw Darren use him in the top lane, and we saw Diamond use him in the jungle, and I don't know. I mean, it can be a very strong champion, as we've seen earlier. If you gank very early on with that extra damage you can do, it's just crazy how you can get the ball kind of rolling. Also, takes it away from Wickd, which is kind of one of the champions he really enjoys to play.
One of the other areas where Picks in particular, of course, really cross over between these two teams is the junglers. You know, Cyanide and Snoopeh for me play a very similar game, have a very similar champion pool. So we'll see if EG actually takes something like the Nasus away here early on.
Yeah, and they kind of play like the supporty type junglers lately. Yeah. And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised maybe see Nasus locked in, but I don't know, like Snoopeh hasn't had amazing success on it. He has the most wins on it with out of all the other jungle champions he's played throughout the season. But I mean, with Thresh open, with Sona open, which they're currently sitting on, that could be a very likely pick. As you get the crowd go wild over the Amuba, which was an amazing game between them and Gambit.
Yeah, sadly we're not going to see that combo here today, the whole big AoE comp that they had going on in that final game that started, I think, around about 1:30 on Sunday morning, obviously in the big tiebreak situation that we had, but it will be Nasus picked up here, and the Sona as well, which Krepo been shied away from for quite a while here in favour of the other supports, but has really started to pick her a lot more, and to really great success, actually.
I mean, no one can underestimate that crescendo. That thing, that alone is game-changing. And any team that goes in underestimated, not respecting the ability of what you can do with it, is going to lose fights. And Krepo, I mean, fantastic Sona, flash crescendos all day. We saw it on him twice yesterday in the 2 games that EG did win. I mean, why not pick up a strong champion? And I wonder if he's a little sad they didn't get Thresh, though, because he was always the Thresh Prince, and Edward is always the Thresh King, and he maybe wanted to take that title, but not going to have the opportunity this time.
On the other side, Fnatic picking up Zyra for YellOwStaR and the Ahri here for xPeke. So wanting to get that out early. Obviously, EG have last pick in any case, so might as well take that Ahri now.
Yeah, and I like the pick. I really do. It allows xPeke to roam around quite a bit. And I remember Fnatic, we used to see them do this whole double gank squad with him and sOAZ, where they would just go into lanes, pick up kills, shove the lane while the rest of Fnatic would hold on. And I'm curious if this is the start to that, but with the lineup that Fnatic already has, they have to pick up something tanky.
Well, let's find out. Right now, Evil Geniuses, this Caitlyn will be of no surprise to us. Yellowpete played it in all 3 games that they had against Alternate, obviously winning 2 of those with some great stats to back those up as well, and some real great performances during those games in particular. And then a Renekton for Wickd, which was, has been and probably always will be one of his go-to champions. Yeah,
and not to mention we have that deadly brother duo with the Renekton and the Nasus, so we could see very early objectives coming out of Evil Geniuses. It's not necessarily that's not necessarily something they always go for, but it's always a possibility, and Fnatic, they have to be prepared for it.
Well, on the other side right now, Teemo's probably not going to be locked in for Fnatic, just going to go out on a limb and say that one. We'll see what Puszu goes for. Generally, he sways toward Varus a little bit more than everywhere else, and it showed that he is a fantastic Varus player, but we may see that combo of the Ashe Zyra being locked in.
Yeah, I was thinking that they have really no tank at the moment, unless sOAZ is going to play it in that top side. And with an Ashe Initiate, we've already seen how strong it can be with Cloud9 over in North America, but you have the Initiate, you can follow that all up with as much damage as possible, and EG, they do have 2 tanks, but they also don't have a lot of damage built up, and if Fnatic can get into that backline, kill Yellowpete, kill Froggen, they're going to have a very tough time.
Well, Fnatic actually rounding off the picks here with that Ashe for Puszu, and the Elise coming out now as well for sOAZ. And we always mention this when Elise comes down, that sOAZ has done incredibly well with that Elise in the past. Obviously, they were just hovering over Anivia, which is why the crowd were going a little bit crazy for that one. Not sure what we're going to see. A Blitzcrank I very much doubt we'll see, although it was Froggen that played in the last time we saw a Blitzcrank for EG.
I hope it's not something support-like. I mean, Orianna, that would be decent, but the thing is, if you have a really bad early game or you don't get to that late game point, you're not going to be very strong in these team fights. I'm honestly not sure what he wants to go for here. I mean, because the thing is, he has a huge champion pool. He can pick so many different things.
Well, we're going to find out here in these next 10 seconds, and it will be that mid laner for Froggen that Evil Geniuses will lock in here on this last pick up against xPeke's Ahri, and it looks like he's going to go for that Orianna. And a pretty common matchup that we see a lot here, Ahri versus Orianna.
Yeah, it's very common. So right now, Fnatic, I mean, with their lineup, they want that strong early game. They want to win very early, take control of the game. However, Evil Geniuses, they want to hold on towards that late game presence, which that's the EG we knew when they were back as CLG EU, and they're kind of going back to their roots a little bit here. But the real question is, they're going back to their roots. We saw how, unfortunately, it didn't work out for them in Season 3. Can they make it work now in the playoffs and probably one of the biggest games of their life?
Well, the thing is, we saw two very different Evil Geniuses yesterday, in my opinion, in game number 1, which was a very similar to that lineup to what we've got going on right now. They didn't quite find their own. They played it very slow, a long lane phase that we had, and it was very much the old EG that we saw. But once they started getting ahead in games 2 and 3, that's when we saw this newer EG that we've become a little bit more used to, of playing very aggressive, hunting for the kills, pushing the objectives down quickly. We'll see what EG turns up today. And
there's something we haven't even mentioned yet that's actually a huge factor in this game, and rated. The analyst for Evil Geniuses, previously the support for Fnatic.
Very true.
We saw EG Fnatic play in week 6. That was a whitewash. EG's just stomped them. They played in week 8 again. EG won that game. And that kind of leads me to believe if Fnatic hasn't changed up their strategy dynamically with a big extent, they might have a tough time here, because N-rated, I mean, being the support for them for such a long time, you'd be able to read them like a book.
Well, he probably had a book full of Fnatic strategies that he took over to EG, obviously, when he left Fnatic and moved camps. And that has certainly played a big role in EG's later season success. Having not just N-rated in there, but having Shaka in there as well has brought an extra competitive edge inside of the team itself. Obviously, the junglers fighting for positions.
I think also it kind of adds a little bit of a help to Snoopeh in terms of it's a jungler he respects. And if he tells him something like, you know, you kind of did this wrong, or you should have did this, he's going to listen. And obviously his team isn't going to know as much as Shaka will, and that kind of makes him improve, which, honestly, we have to agree, he's done these past 2-3 weeks.
Well, he certainly has stepped things up. We'll see if he can do that here again today as we get into game number 1 between Fnatic and EG in this semi-final game. A win here gives you that spot at Worlds. That's what everyone is looking for at this stage. A loss doesn't mean that you won't go to Worlds, but it means that you have to win another best of 3 against the loser of Lemon Dogs versus Gambit, which will be coming up after this best of 3 here today.
Yeah, and right now, I know you're going to ask me, level 1, what do you expect? It's a best of 3. I wouldn't be surprised to see them play very passive here, but Fnatic, they have an amazing level 1 team. I mean, you have that pretty much guaranteed crit coming out of that Ashe, you have that grasping roots out of Zyra, you have this charm kind of xPeke, you have the knockup out of Cyanide, you have the cocoon out of sOAZ. Like, EG cannot really afford to invade here. They have to play passive, maybe just defend their own buffs here, and then maybe make Fnatic come to them, or at the moment, Fnatic's not really even doing anything. They're not even going to try to go for an invade.
Well, we know that EG are big on level 1 studying. That will have probably come even further into play with the addition of N-rated as an analyst in the actual team. But right now, they are pretty much all sat down by this bottom lane.
And speaking of that, they actually talked to me quite a bit. Snoopeh was saying, you know, that late invade that teams can do to you, you can't stop that, because you won't be in a position to stop it, you won't be in a position to fight. And it looks like they're going to go for something similar here. They're going to try to take it with this red buff right now.
Yeah, the wards that are put down to stop that basically mean that you can see it happening, but you can't actually do anything to stop that one really come down, and then it's all about whether you can actually trade off straight away afterwards. So EG are in that area. We can see that Wickd has already backed away. He's going to be headed off towards this top lane to obviously get himself into position. However, Fnatic do have 3 men on the bottom side.
With these 4 Evil Geniuses, they should be able to hold on here. They actually aren't spotted. Puszu's in trouble.
Yeah, Puszu there, coming through a little bit slow to react there were Evil Geniuses. Instead of got in there maybe a little bit quicker, reacted to that one faster, they could have possibly locked up a kill on him, but either way, they forced him to back away. They've stolen away that red buff.
And I gotta say this, in the 8 games they've played in the normal season against each other, Evil Geniuses has gotten first blood every single time, so that actually got me really scared that we might see that happen again. But right now, with Puszu already missing out on quite a bit of health and the harass that Krepo's putting down, they kind of have a little bit of an edge now in this bottom lane.
Well, we can see that Cyanide wants a red buff of his own, so obviously headed up towards that of Snoopeh. But look at this, Snoopeh's coming around. He's not quite got that level advantage here over Cyanide, but Cyanide is less than half HP, so he needs to be a little bit careful. Actually, he's going to go in on towards Snoopeh. He was going to pop his ghost. There's a flash in. Cyanide going to go for this one. Not quite got enough One more auto attack probably would have done it. And now xPeke has come up, and this could be very, very dangerous. Wickd has come down to try and protect as well. He's going to dive off towards Cyanide, but they turn it around. They're going to go into him once again. Cyanide going low. Here comes Orianna. Snoopeh going to come back in. Cyanide going to get his passive pop, but can EG actually follow in for any more? No, they can't. Cyanide will get the red buff and will be able to back off from that one, and that's actually going to slow Snoopeh down quite a lot, because instead of taking his blue buff straight after, he had to come up to protect his red. They wanted 3 buffs.
Yeah, and he's still stuck at that level 1. He did use that smite on the red buff of Fnatic, so he's going to have that up now for that blue buff. And honestly, really kind of helps him out in the end. He's able to take this blue scot-free, where Cyanide on the other hand had to really back away. And EG, like, what did they eat this morning? Because they're being so aggressive in the first part of this game.
Well, they're pushing up this bottom lane here as well. YellOwStaR and Puszu obviously right from level 1, from Puszu attacking the red buff in the out in the open without having any vision of what was possibly coming his way, setting back a little bit there. In his top lane, sOAZ had extra time here to be farming up, and as such has a nice lead over Wickd in terms of levels and in terms of CS.
But with that invade though that Cyanide pulled out, he's not going to have his passive up. So his dive potential onto these turrets to pick up some kills kind of diminishes completely, and that has to make the rest of YellOwStaR's play a little bit more aggressive and feel a little bit more safe, that they can really put some pressure down around the map.
So where is the first kill gonna come down? We said it before, that in every single game that they've played over the summer and the spring split, EG are the team that have got first blood every single time, and that's some good odds here, but obviously every game is different, every level 1 different as well. And
the thing is, out of the 8 games as well, they've gotten the first dragon too, so they kind of go for that first blood, then go for a dragon right off the back of it, and that gives them a huge start for YellOwStaR. However, you know, looking at that and knowing that, Fnatic still won 4 games. They still pulled it back quite well, so you can't really count them out if they do get behind early on.
So this mid lane, Froggen versus xPeke was our featured matchup, I think for good reason as well. Always an entertaining one to watch so far. Froggen having the better of the time of it here with those very strong auto attacks that you naturally have coming out of the Orianna. Here is Cyanide actually headed down towards this bottom lane as well. Let's see if he can actually make anything count with that one. He is going to be able to sneak through into that brush, but he won't be able to go any further because of that trap position.
He does have that leap though, and if he catches Krepo with it, which is a Sona, it's very squishy, followed up with the grasping root, and he could go down very quickly. And Fnatic, they really want to make this play happen. They aren't losing on any CS just yet. Puszu does pop out of the bush to get it. EG, I'm not sure they really know this is... Oh, they do have pings coming down. Like, I guess they're assuming there's going to be a gank here, but they're playing very safe, very passive.
Yeah, sitting right at the back from this one. Not going to let Cyanide get in, and you know, they know they're relatively safe, so they are going to see the grasping root land on towards Yellowpete, but it's a little bit too far away to actually follow in from that one. Cyanide is still going to wait in this one. Is he going to make a leap over? Fnatic need to react quickly if that were to happen, and now he is spotted with that trap going down into the brush, and that's time effectively wasted.
I like what he did though. I mean, because we saw obviously YellOwStaR go in, hit the grasping root, but he waited. And that kind of maybe thought, or made YellOwStaR think that, oh, there's no one there since the jungler didn't go in. But obviously in the end, the trap did come down and was able to save him. But look at the CS differences that we already have coming out here, in particular the bottom lane. 51 to 31 CS between these two AD carries, and that all stems from that level 1 action we saw out of EG pushing the red buff of Fnatic.
Mid lane, a similar scenario as well. Both got that chalice in there as well, so have that extra mana regen that they are going to be needing to do as much harassment to each other. Wickd has really brought himself back into that game in the top lane as well, caught back up with the levels, caught back up with the CS as well.
And good to keep in mind, we're on that 3.10 patch, so at least she got some changes. Her spider lanes are a lot squishier now, they're easy to kill, and we still see a lot of people still valuing her quite highly in North America and here in Europe. And I definitely agree, Wicked's doing a phenomenal job. And I mean, when you hear Wickd, you think of 2 champions in particular, Renekton and Aurelia.
We'll see how his Renekton is going to have an impact on this game. Puszu now coming back a little bit further up this lane. They've had some problems with it before, and he knows that they need to have a stronger control on this lane because he can't keep falling behind. And Yellowpete now with that BF sword in, is going to command a lot more respect from them.
Yeah, and when Fnatic hits level 6, that's kind of, I think, the point where they can really turn it on, because that threat of the Ashe Initiate followed up with the Stranglethorns and the Grasping Roots out of YellOwStaR, like EG has to respect that as well. So yeah, as long as EG might be able to put out a little pressure onto them here, really pressure them down with that BF sword, and they'll be able to maintain this advantage. And I wouldn't be surprised to see actually Cyanide visit this bottom lane with that much control.
I also wouldn't be surprised to see Snoopeh head down as soon as Krepo hits level 6, but we've seen in their best of 3 yesterday against alternate, Krepo's not been scared to utilize that flash crescendo combo.
Or take kills as well. In the second game, picking up those 2. I think that was your third game, he picked up those 2 kills early on, but remember, we do have a Nasus. He is level 5, so that potential for a very early Dragon is very real right now, but currently there are no wards on the spot.
So the flash crescendo, aside from having that possibility to get them a kill, even if they manage to take Fnatic really low, with Snoopeh now close to level 6 as well, it could just open that Dragon up even easily for them.
Yeah, easily. If he gets them low and they're healthy enough, they can easily go for it, or if they get a kill, they can go for it. But right now, xPeke, he's sitting there at level 8 right now. He does have that ultimate available, which makes him very hard to gank, especially when you're a Nasus and you don't have any real hard CC. All you really have is that slow, and with these pings coming down, it looks like Fnatic wants to set something up here. And yet, Cyanide, he's just sitting there at those double goals.
A lot of wards going down, a lot of pinging as well. Communication high between these two sides. Making sure that no silly mistakes are made as Puszu going to take an ace in the hole there from YellowPete. Now we'll take him down to about half HP. We're going to see a blue buff given over towards Froggen. With 4 people on this bottom side of the map, there's a lot of options here for EG.
Yeah, we have to keep in mind that, Snoopeh, he took the blue a little bit later than usual, since he did obviously try to stop Cyanide from taking away his red here, but he's starting to head down. He is level 6, and there is a ward currently sitting on Dragon. He has a pink, or we do have Froggen with a pink ward, but he hasn't invested just yet. He's committing his ultimate. This can actually be very bad for Evil Geniuses.
Yeah, Cyanide is working his way in. Gonna have that Bloodwell available once again, and Snoopeh's ultimate here is pretty much gonna bring them nothing. He's gonna have to back away.
Yeah, it's kind of a waste, but at least one thing it did show, it let EG know where Cyanide was. And because of that, Wickd can play more aggressive, or he can get jumped on here.
Yeah, both of them using their Ignite right there. You did see the ultimate from Wickd being used, which pretty much negates the entire amount of damage that sOAZ put down to him there with that aggression.
Not to mention, it's Renekton. You have great sustain, especially when it's empowered and you hit that Q. So he's already healing up. He's almost at 75%, where right now sOAZ sitting there below half. We could see a kill coming in potentially right there. Now Froggen doing what he does, farming up those races as much as possible.
Yeah, and that mid lane, actually xPeke done a good job here to really bring that one back there. Almost equal on CS, and xPeke himself not being scared of taking race, not being scared of backing off and taking those wolf camps either. So, where do those leads still exist? sOAZ has pulled away once again in this top lane, now got Haunted Guys and a Giant Belt in there with that Crystalline Flask. On the bottom lane as well, that lead for YellowPete is still there.
Yeah, it's been holding steady. I think actually Pushu's been closing it just a little bit. And one thing I don't think we've mentioned too much is xPeke has teleport. Hasn't used it obviously. I'm always curious to see these mid laners when that take it. Do they make plays in the beginning? Do they be very aggressive then? Or do they use it to split push? And knowing xPeke, it's probably for the latter of those two.
Well, let's find out. It's a very pensive start. We're over the 10-minute mark already. I think the slowest we've seen of First Blood really throughout the playoff matches so far was about a 15-minute mark, I want to say.
Well, and funny enough, the average First Blood time between these two teams across both those splits is 4 minutes for Evil Geniuses. So yeah, definitely a lot slower this game. And they're obviously not able to get that very early gank, and I think that's kind of due to Snoopeh being on this Nasus right now.
And neither team, well, I say neither team really willing to go for Dragon. We did see Snoopeh technically committing his ultimate for it down there on the bottom side. And just as if by magic, when I say that, Fnatic all decide to move up into position. They're going to go for this Dragon, and they're going to get it as well. Froggen is backing away completely from that mid lane.
And it looks like EG's going to respawn by Snoopeh coming up towards his top side. They want to go for a hard push on this turret. Looks like they might be able to take it here too. And smart job by EG to just back away, knowing that all 5 members were there, but we'll finally see them spotted by a ward. That turret's still very healthy, but one thing that's great about having a Nasus jumps work on turrets.
Certainly does, but between them, not really able to do too much to it at this point. We are going to see the Spiderling go through there. Actually miss Wickd because they came in and out of the brush at the same time there. But right now, Wickd just zoning sOAZ out as much as he can. We are going to see Cyanide coming over to this side. He will jump on towards Wickd. There is a repel coming down as well, but both of them pretty healthy at this point. They were able to get away. xPeke did teleport into that top lane tower as well.
Yeah, that was a great job. I think they might have been able to take that fight in a 2-on-2, but getting xPeke out of lane, it gives Froggen the chance right now. Look at him. He's actually taking away the raise. He's trying to get a little bit of a CS edge here, which is currently, about 10 up right now.
Yeah, good stuff for him as Wickd continues to try and bully sOAZ a little bit. He's pulled that CS lead that sOAZ has started once again to build up right back to equals. We are going to see down at the bottom, Krepo going very low. First blood coming in there for Puszu. The shockwave missing out of Froggen. Can they lock down YellOwStaR? No, he will flash away. Puszu did go very low, but in the top lane, sOAZ taking a lot of damage, but will manage to survive. And two flashing lights over on the Fnatic lineup, but they've picked up that first blood.
And Krepo, he baited that in so well, but the thing he didn't calculate coming in was Pushu's arrow. And because of that, he couldn't get the crescendo off. Wickd now getting caught here. Cyanide coming in from the back, and he's going to chase him down.
Actually flashing in there, the repel does come up. There's the jump back down, and they're going to be able to take him out. sOAZ here burning from that ignite, and it will kill him off. Last tick of it, and Wickd probably breathing a sigh of relief after that one, because that wouldn't have been his best showing ever if it had gone down without picking up sOAZ as well.
Yeah, great job by him to be able to pick that one up. He also has a Spectral's Cowl built up now, going to help him with quite a bit of harass that sOAZ has been able to put out, but he does have the CS lead, and that's what we really have to focus on, and he's forced sOAZ to go for pretty much a straight for a Sunfire cape as his first big buy.
So push from Cyanide now on towards that turret. Snoopeh will come across to cover that one and make sure that not too much damage will be taken by it. Mid laners both finished off that Athene's Unholy Grail, and in the bottom lane we see Caitlyn going for the Bloodthirster, Puszu on Ashe picking up the Infinity Edge already.
Oh wow, that is very early. That really gives them a strong presence early game. And we already talked about Fnatic, they kind of want to win early. They want to use all the CC they have, all the damage they have, to just beat EG in the beginning. Don't let them get to that late game point where they're strong, and Infinity Edge really kind of shows that exactly what they're going to be going for. Right now, Fnatic, they have the opportunity to make these plays.
Well, they've taken down that bottom turret, of course, the sOAZ here going to get withered up in his top lane. They're able to tank that turret up right now, but with Froggen coming in, sOAZ in some real deep trouble. He's trying to delay until the rest of the team can come across. There is the repel coming down. He's going to drop straight back on top of them. Froggen actually picking that one up, and they managed to escape before Cyanide and xPeke could get up there to help.
That was such a great use of game awareness, knowing that sOAZ didn't have that flash up, knowing he was probably going to be able to die here, and also knowing there was really no wards on that top side of the map. Froggen's able to get his ball rolling with that one kill, and he already has, like I said before, that Athene's Unholy Grail.
Laughing at your own jokes, Jason.
I didn't mean to do that, I swear.
What is the world coming to? So, Fnatic here, pressure onto the top turret back. They want to see if they can pick something up with this one. Froggen actually weighing in there, does have his shockwave available, so they need to be a little bit careful of that one. But Wickd going quite low from that orb of xPeke, decides to back away as we see the arrow going in towards YellowPete. He's going to flash away. YellOwStaR went low at the backside as well, but now Puszu going to be tracking down Krepo. How do you escape an Ashe like that? You don't, is the answer, and that will be 2-0 for Puszu.
That is so dangerous for Evil Geniuses, giving those 2 kills up to him. That's a great job by YellOwStaR to just bait that as much as possible. We do see the Orianna ultimate coming out though.
Well, for what at this point? I mean, Cyanide going pretty low. You've got Snoopeh coming in there. Wickd has had to go down towards this middle lane to defend that one, and they just don't have the damage in there right now.
And that's what we're saying before. Like, they won that late game team fight as Wickd. They've taken a bit of damage here. That was actually a lot coming out of Puszu, but they want to be able to hold on towards that late game point, and right now, if they keep letting this slip away, if they can keep picking up these dragons and keep controlling these global objectives, then EG's going to have a really tough time when we get into these team fights.
Yep, and that middle outer turret is now gone, and we know what that opens up in terms of vision, or loss of vision, more importantly, probably from EG's side of things. And there is the pickaxe now added in as well to that Infinity Edge, so all good stuff for Puszu after his 2 kills. And he's had a really strong start to this one, and that's something that everyone really forgets, I think, a little bit with Fnatic. The Reckless is waiting until he hits 17, but Puszu, as a replacement for YellOwStaR coming in, you know, in the middle of this season, has done so very well for them.
Yeah, he really has, and think back to how this game started. He was pretty much aggroed on right in the beginning at that level 1. He was behind so much CS, currently sitting behind in CS, but with those 2 kills, with the fantastic job YellOwStar's been doing of baiting in EG, he's been able to pick up those 2 kills, able to get the Infinity Edge done with the pickaxe, and it looks like he's going to follow that up with the Last Whisper as a second buy.
That's going to be very dangerous. See there, hitting for a good 550 or thereabouts. Some of those shots coming out right now. We see a needlessly large rod being picked up by xPeke with that Finnish Codex. So now he's going that assassination style that we've seen a lot out of him going up towards the DFG.
And right now he's split pushing this top lane. We do have a pink ward on Snoopeh, so it looks like EG wants to contest this dragon when it comes up in 5 seconds. but they need to do something about that top lane. So if they don't do anything at Dragon and Fnatic hold them off, and they just lost out on a major objective. And Peke, I don't imagine he's going to stop pushing.
Well, he's got teleport as well, so not only have they taken that top turret, but he may be able to come down here if things kick off for this Dragon fight. It's down to half HP. We do see the teleport coming around. They are going to go for it. Wicked getting targeted. A lot of damage coming out. Good crescendo. The shockwave not really having an impact there. Cyanide does have his passive pop, but look at Peke doing the damage. Krepo will fall. Snoopeh going in and out. YellOwPete gets charmed. There, he's going to see the cocoon going onto his teammate Froggen. sOAZ goes low and has to flash back away. Snoopeh now falling as well. Ace in the hole comes through. YellOwStaR decides not to block that one. And EG pick up another couple of kills on the way out. YellOwPete trying to get in there for more. But in the end, it will be a 2 for 2. Dragon's still available, but still dangerous to take on that HP.
That was such a great turnaround by them too. You saw YellOwPete, who is never very aggressive, was moving in and out of that fight the entire time, and Froggen was able to stay alive. Fnatic tried to burst down the tanks and Krepo of Evil Geniuses, and we're going to see that replay come up here in just a second. As you do see Wickd, he pretty much eats everything, the charm, the arrow, and he still survives long enough. Krepo with that great crescendo coming in onto YellOwStaR, and then Snoopeh was able to get the passive proc out of Cyanide. And look at YellOwPete, look at Froggen. They're constantly popping in and out, trying to poke as much as possible. And sOAZ, who dives in a little bit too deep, expecting his team to come up with him to back him up, kind of ends up dying for that. Or actually, he ends up escaping, but gets very low off of it.
So EG coming straight back down towards this Dragon. We're going to see Fnatic doing exactly the same here as well. There is the Hawk shot coming through, so they're going to have vision of that one. Cyanide just waiting off to the side. He does have his smite available. Is he going to make the jump into this one? They decide to actually hold off the Dragon there. Cyanide forced a flash back out of the pit. And that was just extremely smart from EG.
Yeah, that was a great play. Like, they knew the ward was there. They knew he was going to dive in for that Cyanide without that flash. Look at the pink ward battle that we're seeing going on right now between these two teams. And it looks like Fnatic, they're going to respond by pushing middle here.
We'll see if they can gain any advantage, because trying to get through those minion waves, sOAZ actually pushing up to the front here. Cocoon could be very, very deadly if it lands onto the right target. EG still have 3 men off to the side. Will they try and come around? Are they going to give it the turret? Are we going to see a fight?
They shouldn't give this turret up. We do see the charm land, but we do see EG coming in from the side. I don't know, it's very close, and if EG keeps spread out like this, Fnatic can engage on one side of this, probably the right, go straight for Froggen, go straight for Krepo and YellOwPete, and pick up some kills. But with that wave finally going down, they do have time to back up, get to this turret. And EG, they really can't afford to lose this one.
Yeah, problem from coming in from that side there. Think of what you've got over for Fnatic. Grasping roots, the cocoon, the charm, all so very easy to land when they start funneling out of that bottleneck of the jungle. In the end, a good decision from EG. They managed to hold on to the turret. Fnatic actually got a good few wards up. Most of them being pink wards, by the way.
They had
on that little
wards
push.
Down.
Yeah.
4 pink wards to invest into that, and they didn't even get Dragon off of it. They went even in the fight, so in the end, they're losing out quite a bit. We used to Wickd being a little aggressive. They're just trying to scare xPeke. He slices and dices out, but Cyanide, he's going to pick up a free turret here.
Yep, turret is going down, no doubt about that one. Nothing that they can do to stop it as a cocoon comes across. sOAZ didn't quite land that one there. Could have been a dead Krepo if it would have landed onto him. And now Cyanide going to come back towards this middle lane. So Fnatic got all 3 outer turrets now under control. EG's still holding on though in terms of the goal because of those Dragons.
I think that's all they need to do though. I mean, like I was saying before, get to that late game, get to that late game force that you want to become. And right now, I was expecting Fnatic to have a little bit more of a gold lead, have a little bit, or a couple more items really built up, but it's still up to them. They still have that teleport on xPeke to use however they want, and have the ability for him to split push in his farm. Fantastic, 222 now, so Froggen's 215.
Well, it's something we've come to expect from the likes of Peke and Froggen, that they can farm, and seemingly never stop with that one. Still a 33 CS lead for YellOwPete though, and that's something that he had a few troubles with in the past, and I don't think there's any secret about that, but recently he's been really on the mark with that, and from somewhere they found the aggressive YellOwPete, who we saw in that last fight going in and out, not afraid to use the net even to move into the fight.
Probably call him YellOwPete now with the way he's been able to play, and I think that's just due to N-Rated coming into the team saying, you know, this bottom lane of EG is kind of been slacking. Like, we haven't seen really impressive things out of them, but as you saw yesterday, with Snoopeh coming in, they can create so many opportunities, and that gives YellOwPete that confidence and the opportunity to really carry the team.
We've seen better crescendos. Krepo wasn't scared to admit yesterday on stage that he was missing a few crescendos here and there, and it only takes that one big one to land, and that's the thing that he's going to be aiming for here. And in the last fight, certainly was on the point with it as well. So, look at some of the items. That last Whisper now done for Puszu. Sunfire Cape done for sOAZ as well. So, it's going to be a lot of power should a fight kick off anytime soon. Also, that Spirit Visage for Wickd.
The thing is, with the way they're building, they're going for, like, tank killing, it seems. So with the last Whisper, they want to be able to kill Snoopeh and Wickd, but, you know, look where the deaths are currently for EG. Wickd has 2 deaths, Krepo has 3, and that shows that Yellowpete and Froggen, they're having the ability to just attack from the back. We do see YellOwStaR kind of getting caught here, but will EG commit to this?
With it, slowing him right down, acing the hole did come through to him. There's a crescendo, he's going to catch both Puszu and sOAZ. The shockwave only bringing in sOAZ, but look at Cyanide and xPeke on the backside, causing absolute havoc. Snoopeh's going to go down. This is 3 kills, 1 finally coming back for Yellowpete, but he's a dead man straight away after, and now it's just Wickd to really take down. He's going to get rooted up, too much damage coming his way, actually managing to get 2 in the end. But that will be the first ace of this game going Fnatic's way. They lost 3 men to take the 5. Good fight overall.
Yeah, and xPeke, as we're going to see in this replay, he flanks from the backside. He's able to pick them up. We see a nice crescendo come on to Puszu, but no one else on EG was really prepared to go for this. And you see the top side of your map. Yellowpete runs away from Cyanide. He runs away from xPeke because he knows if he sits back there too long, he's going to fall, as Froggen already has. And Wickd, wow. I mean, he's so tanky, he's so strong, able to pick up those 2 kills and really salvage that fight, which could have honestly been a lot worse.
Doing a good job to get those 2 there at the end. Certainly make him a little bit happier right now. Puts him up to 3-3-2. He just picked up that Hex Drinker as well. Other items coming down. Rabadon's Death Cap for Froggen, who, honestly, that shockwave in the last fight, yes, he managed to land it onto sOAZ, who is pretty tanky at this point in the game. That needed to have hit Puszu as well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we saw the crescendo committed to that fight, yet he wasn't able to hit that. But with that Death Cap coming in, that's a lot of damage. Right now, there's not really a lot of magic resist on the entire lineup of Fnatic currently. And as long as Froggen can hit that one ultimate, that's all they need.
So Yellowpete has also added that last Whisper in there. That's certainly going to help him get through the defensive stats that they've started to build up here. sOAZ, obviously, with that Sunfire Cape, got himself a 2nd Giant's Belt right now. And Fnatic start to move up towards that inner turret. And again, we see Froggen's down in that bottom lane. Fnatic know that this is a 5v4. Froggen actually picking up those home guard boots to get straight back towards that turret.
Yeah, so you'll be able to save this one here. And we're almost at that point as Wickd does get caught here, but we're going to back away. At EG, starting to think about, you know, we could probably start to win these team fights very heavily. We just need to synchronize all of our ultimates together. The persistent damage that Wickd and Snoopeh can put out with their ultimates alone is just really hard for Fnatic to deal with without that magic resist.
One thing that Fnatic have a lot of, though, of course, is those roots, with the grasping roots, with the cocoon, with the charm coming in there as well. They've got a lot of control when it comes down to these fights. Right now, they've backed away after putting that pressure onto the inner turret towards the dragon. Already down at half. EG have actually come out of the base here, and they're going to realize that that dragon's gone and probably try and go for a turret back.
Need to be really careful, though. They can't let Fnatic swarm them. They do have them funneled into this relatively tight area, and we might really see a fight break out if sOAZ lands a cocoon.
Well, the cocoon does land there on towards Wickd, though. Probably not the target that they're aiming for to get things started. Oracle on YellOwStaR doing work for them, though. They're able to clear some vision out on that bottom side of the river. In the meanwhile, though, Fnatic have managed to rotate themselves around and get back behind that turret to defend it.
Yellowpete sitting at 203 farm, doing a fantastic job this game. And turret's already very low. We see Ash with the arrow.
Yeah, and he's actually landed on quite a few of them there as well. Snoopeh was hit by the cocoon after, and well, I think just not the ideal targets. It wasn't the Orianna, the Sona, the Caitlyn that they were looking for to start that one off.
They're still fine, though, because they have YellOwStar's ultimate, and that really kind of keeps EG from diving them on this turret. I mean, it's very low right now, so they can probably just face tank it down, but we don't want to lose a major fight at this point, as we do see a turret drop on that top side.
Yeah, top turret does go down, and the middle one as well. Nicely done there from EG. As you said, Snoopeh alone with his Q, he can get in there and do big chunks of damage onto those towers. So, what is the next push? Bottom lane, of course, and the top lane now, since those minions did finally push through, are completely clear. So we're all level on the turrets. So the 3,000 gold lead here for Fnatic after winning some good fights in this one. Well, look at EG. Looks like we're going to see the newer side of them, which is putting a lot of work into going for these objectives. They're going straight down bottom. xPeke actually doesn't have teleport and isn't with the team right now.
And they're not going to be able to spot him until a little bit too late. They're going to get some damage onto this turret, but they really don't want to be engaged upon. That arrow will be up really soon from Puszu, and that would be the initiate that they really want to follow up with. xPeke responds, all right, if you guys push bottom, I'm going to push middle. I'm going to keep farming away, and that's what he's been doing pretty much this entire game.
Yeah, closing in on 300 CS right now. Still has that lead over Froggen. Evil Geniuses looking to steal away some buffs now. Red buff is going to be taken. That's going to go over towards Yellowpete. And now they go towards mid. Well, look at Peke. He said, okay, we've got positional advantage on you. I am going to take this turret. This inner turret is mine. EG actually going to try and come in from the side. The Wither went down onto Cyanide, but he simply just jumps away from it. And they are going to lose an inner turret for this.
And Fnatic, they're going to be able to walk away too. So EG not even getting engaged off of this. That's Fnatic. They thought about there for a second trying to go in. And now EG, they respawn and push middle themselves. However, they can't really do that without a minion wave. I mean, they're tanky enough, but they'll take so much damage that Fnatic can respond to it.
I think they forgot which side of the map they're playing on right now. The AD carries getting each other's red buffs. And we are going to be seeing Fnatic. Where are they headed here? Looks like they'll go once again down on towards this bottom side. We've got two very clear lines of vision. The two strips of ward in this bottom jungle side from Fnatic. EG still hoping to get in there, still hoping to have a few more digs on that turret.
It's really unfortunate right now for EG because I know Krepo at this point really wants to have an Oracle to clear out all this vision so they have the ability to rotate through the jungle without being seen and ultimately maybe catch out Fnatic there, but instead they're going to back away here. I mean, I'm imagining they have quite a bit of gold to spend. Yeah, each member has over 1,000 gold right now, and just going to pick up a couple of items and play it really safe because we're going to remember, this is a best of 3, this is the first game, and the winner of this gets a spot in the World Finals. There's a lot at stake here.
There is a lot at stake, and well, these teams have been working for the entire year to pretty much come down to this game, actually. I mean, this is where they seal up that position, of course, so really, really important match overall. As such, playing it pretty passively here at the start. We're half an hour, we're about to hit the half an hour point. We have a 4,000 gold lead for Fnatic on the blue side. They've got the kill lead. They've got one turret more here as well after that little push that we just saw from xPeke on towards that inner middle turret. Put a couple of pink wards down in the EG jungle as well. Something tells me, no, Baron's not going to be used to be, or not going to be picked up here, but more, if anything, used as bait to start off a fight when one of these teams are feeling comfortable. Yeah,
if anyone was to do it, it would most likely be Fnatic since they have that strong engage. But EG, they do finally have the Oracle on Krepo. He's starting to clear out the wards that were put down in his own side of the map, and right now it's pretty much, where does each team want to fight? And Fnatic, they can do it in an open area, they can do it in the jungle where it's tightly knit because of what they have with the grasping roots. And EG, they kind of need a really small area to fight in just to make sure that Ori on the ultimate and the crescendo is really effective.
Yeah, it's funny because both teams would quite enjoy that as well. Those tight areas work in favors and against in some aspects of both of them as well. Right now though, EG doing a good job of winning this vision war and actually have cleared everything out towards the Baron. But look at xPeke, he's got teleport on this Ahri and he's pushing down that bottom lane in a turret now.
And he's still gaining a CS lane. He picked up a death cap, he's going to get some damage onto the turret, but who from EG can respond to it? And honestly, no one right now. That turret's going to fall.
Fnatic have completely outpositioned them here. They're setting up basically a meat shield of players in between them and that turret. They can't go through their own jungle to stop that happening. And Fnatic pick up a free tower here, their 5th one of the game. Peke gonna back away, great push.
And just from these objectives alone, Joe, they've been able to pick up a 5,000 gold lead. We have Dragon Cup at about 30 seconds here, and EG, they kind of have to fight for it here, or they're gonna be behind by so many items. I mean, look at Puszu, has a Fan Dancer done now. He is so strong at this point at 2, 2, and 6, even if he is behind 30 CS.
So, are Fnatic going to have this dragon for free? Heard from EG in the past that if they feel they can't win a fight, they'll just give that dragon up. It's not worth, being aced and then losing the dragon anyway, just for the sheer potential of maybe getting a steal in there or maybe picking up a couple of kills and being able to secure that one. They are coming in from the side here, but we see there they go straight on towards Cyanide. He gets withered down. There's an orb from xPeke, but you don't want to walk through there. They will shockwave you up, and well, Froggen moves the ball to cover the next entry down towards this inner turret. And if he keeps that one there, as we are going to see the arrow coming through, lands on towards Krepo. He's rooted up. Here come the Strangled Thorns. Krepo melted in this one. There is the shockwave finally. It's going to pop Cyanide's passive, but the damage here from Fnatic is absolutely insane. They've managed to pick up 2 already. It could be a possible 3rd as they chase over towards Froggen. Actually, he's walked away with full HP from this one. Fnatic got 2 men blinking red, and Froggen having the audacity to try and steal blue there.
He's just helping him out. Like, here, xPeke, you can have that one. But he's going to come in. He's going to look for a steal. He gets it.
Yeah, nice little steal from Froggen as well. And there's Yellowpete just trying to heal himself back up with that Bloodthirster. Gets himself back to full HP. So another crazy fight and another one which Fnatic showing that they've got an edge in this one, but it's not a massive edge.
But think what they committed to the fight in terms of who they hit with what. Krepo got hit with the arrow, got hit with a cocoon, got hit with a slow and a knockup. He could not get out of that. He could not flash, he could not crescendo, and that's one of the big CC chains that they have to need, as you do see it come in right there. And just look at what hits him. He could not do anything the entire time, and even with the ultimate coming out of Orianna, you need that crescendo to follow up. You need to be able to hit that backline of Fnatic as Puszu and xPeke are just attacking away, and EG, it was a good try. Like, I like how they use the ball to really zone out Fnatic, but if they get engaged upon like that again, they're looking at losing Baron.
And that's it. Even if it's just one man that they catch out to turn it into a 5v4, it's still going to be worth it from Fnatic. Even if they just take down Krepo before he can throw a crescendo into the mix. That's masses of CC taken away. So that gold lead has now further increased. 7,000 is the difference that Fnatic have over Evil Geniuses. Are we going to see them make a play at Baron, whether that be a positional play or an actual attempt at it? To be honest, the way they've been doing it so far is spending a lot of effort for xPeke to actually get these split pushes going.
And he still has teleport up. He hasn't used it in quite a while, and look at those CS numbers, Joe. 380 right now, only 34 minutes in. We do have EG, they're kind of setting up for Baron. They're actually starting here. This is a very ballsy play. If they pull it off, it's going to be huge.
Well, there goes the hawk shot, the perfect counter to a sneaky Baron coming in there. And they will just back away from that one. They know that it's far too risky when Fnatic know that they're doing that Baron. xPeke, he's still pushing from this one. Fnatic going in and out, doing as much damage as they can from range. And actually, that's a lot of damage coming in towards Snoopeh. The Baron hammering away. There goes the arrow. They're going to put Strangle Thorns down. The crescendo only landing onto one. And the shockwave not really having the desired effect either. Here comes Peke into the fight, rushing forward. He gets himself a double kill. Can he get any more from this one? Krepo is extremely low from it, and he continues to stay low as the cocoon lands on towards Yellowpete, who will walk off. Fnatic not really healthy enough here to risk a Baron though.
That was a great job by them to just poke them down. You saw Snoopeh, the damage he took from Puszu, the damage from the Baron. He wasn't even in the fight at all just because of what he took, and that was a fantastic job using their composition really well. And EG, I don't think they necessarily wanted to go for the Baron. They wanted to bait in a fight, but I just outplayed him there.
Outplayed, and still that lead. Every time we seem to go back to it, there's an extra 1,000 gold added on top of it. And look at this, Fnatic have started things off. Yellowpete and Froggen at the backside. We're going to have Krepo slowly filtering in. They know that Froggen's there because they've just seen a ball coming. Yellowpete coming around the side of this one. The Baron going very, very low here. Can Fnatic actually finish it off? On the side, we do actually have xPeke going in on towards Sona, but it's the Baron that's important here. It's going to go down to 1,000, and there is the pickup of Baron from Fnatic. Are they going to go for the instant fight? Yes, they are. We see finally the shutdown onto xPeke. Cyanide flashing over the top to kill off Froggen. And in the end, it's just Snoopeh and Wickd that walk away. The two that, funnily enough, were the only ones to die last time around. But either way, complete domination. Here's that fight again.
And Krepo, I mean, what is there to say about that? That was just him getting blown up, and that was a great job by Fnatic to kind of catch out the people who were there to try to stop it and pick up those kills. You know, Froggen went down, Krepo went down, Yellowpete went down, and that's who you need alive. That is their whole chain of CC. That's what they're counting on and depending on for these fights if they want to win.
Brilliant play out of Fnatic, and I asked the question at the start of this game, what have they done this week in that time between Sunday morning at 2 AM or the time that we finished with the playoff round of things, or the tiebreaker round, up until their game here today. Roughly a week's practice, and it seems to have been working out nicely for them because this is a Fnatic that we've not really seen all season against EG.
And the thing is, they got the luxury of seeing EG play yesterday in their best of 3 against Alternates, so they know what to take away. You know, with that Jarvan ban, definitely target at Snoopeh. Doesn't want to give EG that fantastic early start. But right now, we do have Fnatic. They're eyeing down one of these inhibitor turrets. They want to take one of these down.
And why not? We are going to see the arrow actually coming in towards Yellowpete there. He tried to dodge it. Is he going to get Cocoon? Yes, and Grasping Roots. There go the Strangle Thorns as well. They're fighting right under the turret. The Shockwave did nothing there. It hit nobody. And that is a big ultimate wasted here. Fnatic with the regen of the Baron as well are probably going to be able to hang around.
Not to mention, I mean, that was the crescendo, that was the shockwave coming out. That's what they need for these fights. So EG, they have to hope they can hold on to this wave. Luckily, they do have Froggen up and Yellowpete up, so they can actually push the waves out with their amazing wave clear. But Fnatic, I honestly don't think they're too afraid to dive here. If that arrow comes up as well as Stranglethorns, look for them to just go for the straight dive.
Yeah, it's going to be a big thing on Stu. Who a Charm, Grasping Root lands onto, or the Cocoon as well. They've got 3 big options there to get things started. In the end, though, they don't need them. EG decide to back away, and this will be the first inhibitor of the game going down to Fnatic.
And that is a huge win for them. I mean, we always talk about coming back from losing that first inhibitor throughout the summer split of LCS and the spring split of the normal season. The team that took the first inhibitor won 93.75% of the time. Those are huge numbers. Obviously, we saw NIP kind of reverse that earlier on today against Alternate.
I was going to say, we've already seen that being somewhat distributed today to some extent. Oh, this is bad news for Snoopeh. He's going to get locked up. The Charm landing, everything landed onto him there. He loses half of his health. Is that going to be enough for them to think about making another big play, another fearless dive underneath this inner turret? And it's a dangerous turret to always hold on to, this one. Sometimes just better to give that one up and try and defend from the base. And Snoopeh going to go very low. There's a diving. Cyanide now unstoppable as he gets away to the brush. The shockwave again. Absolutely nobody hit with that one. And that will be the turret. With the death, with the shockwave use, that probably means they can't defend this next one now.
And with us being 39 minutes in, that is like a 50-second death timer for Snoopeh. They're going to lose another inhibitor here, and this gives Fnatic such a strong start to this first game of the best of 3.
Well, there is the second inhibitor turret going down, and the inhibitor itself will fall. And Fnatic obviously have the base pushed up on this bottom side of things as well. There's a lot of minions coming in there. They might be able to do that damage there now as well with this Baronon.
Are they looking to finish the game? They still have 15 seconds left. They see Wickd is at that bottom side of the map. They're going to go for some good damage on these Nexus turrets, and honestly, they should be able to pick at least one up.
Well, why not? Why not go for it right now? We are seeing them in there. Look how much damage that Nexus turret is taking here from Puszu, and that will be the first Nexus turret of the game down. EG, they are holding on by a very thin thread right now.
With that one Nexus turret going down, is Wickd. He might drop.
Well, he's got him towards xPeke. There is the ace in the hole flying through. xPeke almost going down to it. Well, almost is not good enough at this stage. Fnatic, who must have a ton of gold to spend right now, are all going to head back home. Yeah, look at that. Everyone up into 4 figures, pretty much.
That is just really crazy for him. And the thing was, with that last fight, with the 2 inhibitors going down, more importantly, with the 1 Nexus turret going down, that means if EG ever leave their base to contest, you know, like a Baron or contest any sort of objective, then that means that 1 Nexus turret will drop to those 2 waves of super minions.
Trying to keep them pushed out as far as they can here. Fnatic also taking a Dragon on their way out. And that's left now. I mean, look at xPeke's build here. DFG, Zhonya's, Rabadon's Death Cap, Void Staff. Like, he can kill anybody right now.
Yeah, it's all about dodging that charm, and if he gets into that back line, I mean, you saw him hitting Wickd. Pretty much the tankiest member of EG, and he almost was able to 1v1 him. But we do have a major item coming in for Evil Geniuses, that Mikhail's Crucible. Krepo's already talked with me, actually both of us, so many times about how it's the perfect support item for a Sona, and we've seen just how much CC can be piled on upon one target. If you can keep Yellowpete out of an arrow, if you keep Froggen out of an arrow, then you have a much higher chance of turning this fight around. But right now, they need to hold on to their base. They need to let these 2 inhibitors respawn.
I think the arrow is going to be the main use of it, of course, because you've generally got a bit more range and time to stop them stacking up the likes of the Cocoon, the Charm, the Grasping Root on top of that one. Wickd actually going pretty far forward. He's going to pop his ultimate there. The Stranglethorns coming down. You can't get him out of the knockup, though, and Wickd is going to fall. There is a crescendo coming out, but Snoopeh is going to die as well. Cyanide not scared to dive straight into them there. That's Froggen being chased down by sOAZ at the back. He's now on a rampage. The double kill comes down, and there's only Krepo left standing. But for how long? He tries to get on the fountain. He will get through. sOAZ tanks up the damage from that. They're going to take the Nexus, and Fnatic are going to win game number 1 of our best of 3 semi-final.
That was just a fantastic game out of them overall. I mean, that looked way too easy for him too, and not to mention when you're in that EG camp, the momentum block or the mental wall that you just had from this game really has to kind of make you think about what we need to do differently in the second game.
Well, it wasn't that bad of a start for EG, but Fnatic, I think, showing again their control and the time that they've had here to really perfect and maybe iron out some kinks in their performances of that Super Week, because they didn't have a very good Super Week. Honestly, they struggled, and they looked at a point like they could be the team that may even drop down to the position which SK unfortunately took in the end, that 7th spot.
And I really think Fnatic, they kind of won a little bit in Champion Select, just with the ban on Jarvan alone. I mean, Snoopeh, when he's playing something he's not necessarily 100% comfortable with or does 100% amazing on, he kind of seems to have games just like that. But Fnatic, with their lineup of just pure damage, pure going in, having sOAZ be like the only real tank for you, it really worked out for him, and EG didn't have an answer that whole game.
Well, no one knows these two teams better than the actual players themselves, and we heard it from them in the video before we kicked things off that Pete said we've not picked and banned against them so well in the past. Fnatic said that a lot of it's probably going to be won in the bans and picks phase, and well, that's what we just saw there again. Snoopeh not being able to play that Jarvan probably will be a similar scenario in this next game, but Fnatic getting off to a solid start, but it's a best of 3, and Evil Geniuses, they've been in this position before. Yesterday, when they went 1-0 down against Alternate, they looked like a completely different game in game 2, so we'll see how they do it this time.
Real question is, can they do it again? I mean, obviously it was a big game for them yesterday, potentially being dropped into the relegation matches between them and the other loss of the series. And right now, they got a lot of work cut out for them. They really do. I think they really need to rethink their picks and bans. And right now against Fnatic, how do you ban them out? You can't.
Well, we saw how far Elise went through the bans and the picks there, almost in the last round. In fact, was in the last round of picks coming out for Fnatic. So a lot of work to be done, a lot of talking to be done here for Evil Geniuses in the half-time point of the game, in the break that they're going to get before game number 2. But for now, we're going to head over to Quickshot and Kobe to break down all the plays that made the differences in game 1.
Thank you very much, Joe and Jason. And a good game from Fnatic. Lots of things to think about and talk about if you were an EG fan. Before we get to that, let's go right back to the beginning. First and foremost, in terms of picks and bans, we had that NA duo lane with a little bit of European flavor on some of the other champs and picks. And I know you were quite liking the Evil Geniuses composition.
I really liked the Fnatic composition, actually. And it was really an EU classic with a little bit of North American flavor here. Everybody knows Fnatic's go-to style is xPeke split pushing. He likes the backdoor. That's perfect for them. All they needed was this small touch from Cloud9 with the Ashe-Zyra combo down bottom, because it helps xPeke be able to push. Ashe-Zyra, not only is it great engage and great disengage, but it also gives you wave clear. That's what you need to have a 4-1 split push. It allowed him to take that Ahri with teleport to one of the other lanes and basically split push for as long as he wanted, because EG cannot engage on an Ashe-Zyra defending a turret. There's just way too much disengage there and way too much wave clear. No options left for EG.
Well, before we get to the first replay, I do want to talk about the positional play that, that split pushing Ahri from xPeke actually applied to EG, because there was about 3 or 4 towers that were unanswered for, where EG were just caught napping. They were out of position, and either xPeke rushed it down or Fnatic just outplayed them in maneuvement and secured so many towers. What went wrong for EG during those, being caught out of position? Just lack of vision?
They didn't have the mobility. They can't. There's no way for them to answer that split pushing Ahri. That's why they have to change, and that's why it was so good from Fnatic. Another thing is that Puszu for Fnatic, he has not played Ashe before. Usually it's Varus. He has 10 games in the summer split as Varus, which is similar, but it doesn't have the engage that Ashe has. So by the time that xPeke got that global gold lead for them with the split pushing, then they were finally ready to fight, and they got it with a crystal arrow. So first, let's bring up this clip of the bottom lane here. How did they do with the duo, this Ashe-Zyra that's new to them? At first, they did get behind in CS, but that had a lot to do with the invade from EG. The late invade getting a lot of damage early on Puszu. When push came to shove, though, it was Krepo and YellowPete's inexperience playing against a Ashe-Zyra that really cost them. So let's roll this clip slowly, and we'll see how Krepo, this is the first crescendo that he doesn't get off. He tries to walk towards Ashe to get it off here, but they don't let him do it. He's not used to that amount of CC. In a 3 versus 2 situation, EG are the ones that actually lose out the first blood there. Even with Puszu being able to flash away from the shockwave, a complete win right there.
that what we've seen was something that continued to repeat itself throughout the course of the game. And there was a number of things. First of all, Puszu's crystal arrows were very, very good. Every time he landed on a target, the rest of Fnatic just slammed themselves onto EG's team. On top of that, I don't think Froggen hit more than 2 people with a shockwave the entire game, and I believe he missed more than he actually hit.
So there were 2 things, the shockwaves and the crescendos. Crescendos, a lot of times Krepo was just getting bursted down, so he didn't even get to get them off. But the shockwave would have been the only thing that could get EG back into it. And you're right, there were just no crucial shockwaves.
So we do have another replay, so let's bring this one up on your screen so we can actually talk you through exactly how these things happen. Now, first of all, when the fight started, EG were trying to make a push for tower, but they got kind of jumped on by Fnatic.
First, notice the gold lead. This is where Fnatic are finally ready to be the aggressors. They've gotten enough global gold lead by using that split push strategy where they have this teleport Ahri with no answer from EG, and they have had their 4-man team just defending turrets. Now that they have this huge lead, they're ready to go on the offensive. Just started off with the Crystal Arrow. This is the difference between the Ashe and the Varus. Now they have the engage, and we can see a beautiful flash cocoon from sOAZ here to lock down Krepo. He doesn't get anything off. Let's roll this forward, half speed, and we can see the arrow hitting Krepo right there was a bit of luck, but a beautiful capitalization right there by sOAZ, locking Krepo down long enough. They just chain their CC so well after this. And this is also beautiful Ahri play from xPeke. You can tell when it's a really strong Ahri player. They go in and out of the fight, re-engaging multiple times without taking damage there.
A really, really good play. It just felt like in everything that Evil Geniuses tried to do, Fnatic seemed to have the answer. And the few plays we did see starting from EG were disjointed. There's one team fight that really stands out in my mind very early on in the Dragon Pit where Fnatic were being chased away. Snoopeh was off chasing sOAZ. Krepo flash crescendoed, Puszu, and there was just no real cohesion within the EG roster.
So that was, again, the synergy of this Fnatic lineup. This is probably one of my favorite team compositions that I've ever seen. Probably one of the strongest that you can run right now is that strong of an assassin with that strong of wave clear and disengage. Zyra's ulti, even though he had gotten caught out there, he was able to buy them time for the teleport to come in. They assassinated Froggen in the back line there, and there was really no hope.
Well, we'll have to see how the picks and bans go in game number 2 and whether or not Evil Geniuses can do what they did to Alternate yesterday. We do have to jump to a very quick advert break before we get to that, though. But when we return to GamesCom, we'll have that second match between Fnatic and Evil Geniuses. If Fnatic can take down one more Nexus, they earn a spot in Sunday's final and clinch a berth in the Season 3 World Championship.